What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Uprise Postgame show. Tonight we're going to be talking about the preseason game that a lot of you guys probably didn't get to see as it wasn't on TV, and that was Portland Trail Blazers versus the Utah Jazz. It was a very interesting game. It was a lot more entertaining than the previous preseason games for the Blazers earlier this season. So I got my stream on my phone and it's playing over the mic. But I watched the game and I'll get into it a little bit. It's going to be a shorter stream. It's going to be about a 30-minute stream or whatever. Now, as far as the channel goes, I wanted to upload a mailbag, but the audio was kind of weird. So I have to kind of re-edit it, redo some of it. But I hope to have that out at some time tonight. Might be in the middle of the night, but I want to get that out. So stay tuned for that. What's up, Insidious Swede? Also, shout out to Insidious Swede, our latest Patreon donor. He donates, what was it? It was like $5 a month. I appreciate that. Appreciate the support. If you guys want to support me on Patreon, you can search Blazers Uprise on Patreon and find the page. I don't have it leaked in the description or anything, but it was on League Pass. Okay, yeah, so... And I think that will be the case with tomorrow's game against Denver as well, because I assume that's not going to be on Portland's broadcast. So you could probably go find that on League Pass, which I think is a free trial right now, so that's how you can find it. I just used a random streaming site, which I don't recommend because it's not entirely legal, but also I didn't really have an alternative, so it wasn't like I was skirting any rules or anything like that. So my audio's a little delayed. I'm going to try and fix that. Test. Alrighty. Hopefully the audio lag isn't as bad. I know the audio was lagging just a little bit. I'm trying to fix it. That's been a problem lately. Our video and our audio hasn't been entirely in sync. I don't know why, but hopefully I can get this set up so the stream looks good. And then we can start breaking down what I saw from this game tonight. Alrighty, so those who were able to watch the game, let me know what you thought about certain players, or let me know what you thought in the comment section below. I'm trying to make sure my audio is good to go. Dame and CJ are so good. Dame and CJ were awesome tonight. Dame got cooking early, and then CJ kind of picked it on. God, delay it even more. Cool. Alright, hopefully that's pretty good. Whiteside and Collins played together. Whiteside and Collins started together. They protected the rim pretty well. Portland got off to an early lead. Whiteside ended up cutting his finger on the rim about 6 minutes into the game. Had to probably get stitches. He went back to the locker room. Came out in the third quarter. Then Whiteside rolled his left ankle, which was the ankle that he rolled previously. And then he was out for the rest of the game. It didn't look too bad. It wasn't a horrible roll, so I'm hoping that he can come back and be ready to go by opening night of the regular season. I don't think the starters are going to play tomorrow. I think that's going to be more of a bench game, so that'll be intriguing to watch a guy like Nasir Little who hasn't gotten much run. We'll see if Anthony Simons plays. I think this game was more of Portland going with its normal, regular rotation, which meant Hezonja, Tolliver had to play because of Whiteside. Labissiere played a little bit as well. Simons only played about 10, 12 minutes until garbage time, which I thought was a little bit surprising. He didn't play a whole lot. They kind of half staggered Dame and CJ. There was about 4 minutes at the start of the second and fourth quarters where they ran an all-bench lineup without Dame or CJ on the floor. And honestly, in the first half, that lineup really, really struggled. And then it was better in the fourth quarter. It was better in the second half, but that all-bench lineup kind of has me worried. Once Hassan Whiteside came back, he looked like he Sorry, chat's moving too fast for me to read your comment. Comeback on the end freaked me out. Yeah, it freaked me out as well. I thought Utah might have been able to get that comeback. Portland was up like 15 with 5 minutes left, and Utah cut it down to 5 with a couple minutes left. They won a huge run. That was a game of runs. Best preseason game I've seen from Collins so far. Collins looks like a different player. Collins was the most encouraging player because, like, I know Dame and CJ, they killed it, but Collins looked really, really good. And I think that, like, he was the most encouraging player because we know what we're going to get out of Dame and CJ. Collins is one of those wild cards that has to end up panning out, that has to end up being a good player for us in order for us to be the best team that we can possibly be. Like, his development is crucial for our success. Let me make sure this is good. So, yeah, I'll get to him in a sec. I'm just trying to make sure everything's good. I'm trying to, like, balance some things out here while talking. Maybe get a little bit lighter in here. Nope, that's darker. That's a little better. Alrighty. But Collins came in, hit a couple mid-range jumpers, and I gotta say his mid-range jump shot looks so sharp, so compact. And then after he had a couple of those mid-range jumpers, he ended up hitting a trailing 3, and his jump shot, just his form looks so much better. And it doesn't even look all that much different. It just looks more like solid, more fluid, solid shot pocket. So Collins looked really, really good. Whiteside still, like, didn't seem to be playing with a ton of energy, but I'm not going to freak out about stuff like that like a lot of other Blazer fans are, because people are all worried about, so on Whiteside he looks lazy, but that's what Heat fans said about him, and he got 19 points per game and 18 rebounds per game per 36 minutes last season, so if that's lazy, then fine. Like, that's still good production. And honestly, our defense was much, much better with Hassan Whiteside in the game. Whiteside defended Gobert beautifully, and when we play against the Jazz this year with Whiteside, Whiteside is a guy who gives Gobert fits. And in this game tonight, like, they were going at it, and Gobert was struggling because Whiteside has the length to actually match up against Gobert, who has elite length as well. So Whiteside looked fine, and then he got hurt, which kind of sucks, but hopefully he's ready to go by opening night, because we kind of need him out there to go against Nikola Jokic, because if we don't have, like, we could start Collins at center, but then that risks putting Collins in foul trouble. And then if Collins gets into foul trouble, then we have to play Pau Gasol possibly 30 minutes. That's if Hassan Whiteside can't go opening night. So, like, that could go downhill fast if this ankle injury ends up knocking Hassan Whiteside out of some regular season games. So I'm hoping that's not the case. But Collins looked really good. I think he's ready to play either power forward or center. He's ready to start. His fouling has seemed to have gotten a little bit better. I think he's ready to play like 28, 30 minutes per game, because he looks really, really good. Whiteside had an amazing backdoor pass to Dame. Yeah, Whiteside hit Dame on a backdoor pass. Dame ended up, like, quickly kicking the ball to the corner, and then they swung it to, like, free throw line extended. There was a really good play with a great amount of ball movement that was sparked by Hassan Whiteside throwing one of those Mason Plumlee, Yusuf Nurkic backdoor passes to Dame, cutting down the middle of the lane. And I thought that was a really cool play, and the ball movement was really good. Your video is a full 2-4 seconds behind the audio. Yeah, I'm trying to work on that. Is it better? Let me know if it's better. Great amount of ball movement that was sparked by Hassan Whiteside throwing one of those Mason Plumlee. I don't know why this has been a problem for me lately. It's been something that I've really been trying to fix, because I hate having, like, the audio not synced up. Hassan also had that horrible overthrow into the bench. Yeah, that was bad. I mean, like, he's not passing like how, he was talking about being a passer. He was saying that he thinks he can average a triple-double with assists, points, and rebounds. I don't think that's the case. He might have had some flashes of it during practice, but he just doesn't have, like, that sort of feel. But then again, Portland hasn't really put him in a position to throw that many passes, so I don't know. It's definitely, like, that was the number one thing for me to see this preseason, and right now I wouldn't say, like, he's any exceptional passer. We'll see if he ends up getting put in a position where he can make some good passes, but right now he's not. Audio looks a little bit better. I'm still trying to fix this for y'all. Like 1 second now. Yeah, keep giving me feedback, Eric. Shout out to Eric. If you guys don't know who Eric is, you guys need to watch our podcast because that's my co-host. That's my dude. So appreciate the help with that. I was having a lot of trouble with like getting our podcast set up today, so that's why we didn't have one. Should be back on Friday. I don't know why we were having issues with that, but how am I liking Hezonja? Okay, yeah, I gotta get to Hezonja. I saw what Eric said in the comment section saying that Hezonja's trying to prove me wrong, and Eric, you know this, bro, because I've talked to you about this. You know that I never said Hezonja wasn't going to pass out. It was more about the gamble, so Hezonja could play like LeBron, and he's still not going to prove me wrong, because, like, maybe I don't like the odds for the lottery, so I don't like, spending $100 on that gamble. If I still do it and I win that lottery, it doesn't mean that I'm necessarily wrong for not liking the odds on that gamble. But getting into Hezonja looked really, really good. And he had struggled with his jump shot earlier on this preseason. He finally hit a couple of threes, hit a mid-range shot. Once he got that first three to fall, he then isolated Ed Davis and hit a mid-range pull-up over him. And then he hit another contested three from the corner. So if he can hit shots, he could be a really, really good player. The problem is his shot hasn't been falling so far this preseason, and I don't think his form is good enough to have him be all that consistent of a shooter. I just don't think he has that type of shooting ability. But if he can shoot like 34%, somewhere in there, 35%, then that would be good enough for me. He hasn't really shot that well at all from three during his entire 4-year career. So we'll wait and see. I know you're messing with me, man, but people actually will be seriously blowing up my Twitter saying that I'm being proved wrong. And I never said he was going to be bad. But I really like Hezonja. I thought he looked really, really good tonight. He's just a weird player to me. Because, the thing is with Evan Turner, he was a good passer in transition. But he could also kind of attack the defense off the dribble in the half court. Now, he usually wouldn't get good shots, but he would at least try and attack the defense in the half court. Hezonja doesn't even really try and attack the defense in the half court. He kind of stands around the perimeter, swings the ball, doesn't really run much pick and roll, and is just kind of non-existent when the team plays in the half court. That was until we hit those jump shots. All three of those jumpers were in the half court offense, so I think if he can knock down shots and get guys to close out on him and then attack, then that'll be a good thing. The problem is guys don't really close out on him because he's not known as a good three-point shooter, so guys close out short, and a lot of times this preseason I've noticed that Hezonja isn't that confident taking that three-point shot, so he just gets stuck with the ball on the perimeter with nothing to do. Transition is completely different because the defense isn't set, and he's going downhill at guys and creating plays that way, and he's able to have success that way, and he's a lot more aggressive in transition. He's just a completely different player when you look at transition compared to the half-court offense. But hopefully he's able to knock down shots like he did tonight, because then he'll be a serviceable player for sure. Tolliver looks bad. I don't think Tolliver looks bad. He's, I don't know. Tolliver isn't that great of a player. He's just a guy who's going to come down, hopefully hit the open three, and hopefully provide okay defense, okay rebounding. And I think, there was a moment out there where I think Tolliver had been out on the floor for 3 or 4 minutes, and I finally realized that Tolliver was actually on the floor. I didn't realize it, but he came in after Whiteside hurt himself, so he must have been in 3-4 minutes. I didn't notice Tolliver for 3 or 4 minutes. And honestly, as the worst player on the court, I'm not sure it's a bad thing that I didn't notice Tolliver. He's not going to be a guy who stands out, but as long as he's not making mistakes, as long as he's not hurting the team, then, that's fine for a guy who's the 11th or 12th man on the roster, who's a veteran presence in the locker room. That's fine. It's still laggy. Why is it still lagging behind? the play Tolliver shut down Ingles was crazy. That was great defense. See, that's what I mean. Like, if a dude can come in and provide that type of defense when he's not a regular rotation player and he can knock down a three, like, that's helpful because we haven't really had 3-and-D guys, and he's not great at either one of those things, in my opinion, but as long as he can, like, provide a little bit of it, he'll be fine. I don't expect him to be regularly in the rotation, but, you know, there's going to be situations where bigs get into foul trouble or a big gets injured like Whiteside did tonight, and Tolliver's going to have to come in and just try and help the team and try and fit in. I think that's what he's good at, is fitting in with the rest of the rotation. Alright, that's the best I can do for the audio. I don't know why it's so far behind the video, but that's a problem that I'll definitely try and hammer out because it's been, you know, it's been bugging me a lot, especially when I go live. Like, I just want to go live and talk to you guys, but kind of bothers me knowing that the audio isn't perfectly matched up with the video. So preseason form, gotta iron things out, just like the Portland Trailblazers do, because their 3-point defense, we'll get into this a little bit, their 3-point defense was a little spotty tonight. It kind of carried over from that Phoenix Suns game. It got a lot better in the second half. Our second half defense was really, really good until the bench unit came in garbage time and gave up like a 12-0 run or whatever it was. Second half, like, started third quarter to the middle of fourth quarter, it was really, really good defense. It was really, really encouraging because our defense has been a problem area this preseason. The first half, though, we gave up 65 points, gave up so many open threes. There was a couple of plays where we were guarding the guy with the ball on the three-point line. I believe one of the time it was Joe Ingles. The other time I don't know who it was, but there was a specific play where somebody, I think it might have been Simons, but I don't know, somebody was guarding Joe Ingles at the top of the arc, and they left Joe Ingles completely wide open to run back to their guy, and Joe Ingles was like, okay, took his time, nailed down the three. He was completely wide open. Like, somebody completely left ball. And possessions like those drive me crazy because the number one thing you don't do is leave the ball wide open on the three-point line in a good three-point shooter's hands. Even if it's not your assignment, you still have to guard the guy with the ball. You have to pick up ball first, and then the rest of the defense comes after that. And there was just multiple times where we gave up so many open threes, man, and it was starting to remind me a bit of the Phoenix Suns game. Now, I'm glad that they fixed that in the second half. Obviously, it was probably a talking point at halftime from Terry Stotts to the team. But that first half, man, our three-point defense was very, very spotty, and it's something that we have to figure out because we can't give up that many open threes in the regular season because that's the thing. Like, the first half, our offense was phenomenal. Our offense was as good as it gets. Dame and CJ were hitting almost everything, hitting very tough shots. Zach Collins was beasting on offense. Zach Collins was knocking down mid-range jumpers, knocked down a three, was finishing inside. Rodney Hood made a couple of shots. Like, our offense was great, and the fact that we only had a 2-point lead against the Utah Jazz was a bit problematic considering how good our offense played. So, and the thing is, like, if that's a regular season game and our offense doesn't play really, really well and we give up threes like that, we're down 10, 15 points at halftime. So it's definitely something that needs to be worked on. Laser0409 said, I expected more from Scal this preseason. I'm disappointed. And that's another guy I got to talk on because I was high on Scal going into this preseason, but I've definitely soured on him. Scal just looks lost defensively. I don't know what it is, but he doesn't look like he knows where to be defensively. There's often times where he loses his assignment. There's often times where he's just kind of soft inside, doesn't really protect the rim. I think he's more of a power forward instead of a center, but he was playing center tonight. I think he's a lot worse defensively as a center because he's not a natural rim protector, and he's not a guy that you want playing Terry Stotts pick and roll defense because he's not crazy big like Whiteside where he can sag but still contest those mid-range shots, and he's also not a great rim protector, so giving up all that space just means that guards are going to drive right at him and score at the rim, and he's not going to provide much resistance. So defensively, he's struggling. He's also not looking assertive offensively. He's not really looking for his three-point shot. there was also a time where he had a point guard in the post and he decided to fade away from 15 feet and he airballed, and that was probably the most cringeworthy possession. It kind of reminded me of what Myers Leonard would do. It's like, dude, you're 6'11" or somewhere around there, and you're guarded by a point guard and you have space to back him down, get to the rim, finish over him. Don't fade away from 15 feet. That was a very bad shot. So I don't know. Scott Labissiere, I wouldn't put him in the rotation at this point. Hezonja, I would play over him, believe it or not. Yeah, which I wouldn't have said at the start of the preseason. That might surprise you guys. But at this point, Hezonja should play over Scott Labissiere. Hezonja actually fits a role that Terry Stotts likes to have off the bench, which is a point forward to initiate the offense like he had with Evan Turner. And now Mario Hezonja has kind of shown that he can kind of be that guy. Nolan Johnson, why are people saying Nurkic is leaving because he switched agents? Because people were dumb. He has 3 years left on his contract. Those same people will say that Damian Lillard's about to leave Portland, even though Dame just re-signed and has 6 years left on his contract. Those people don't know what they're talking about. That's just like NBA Twitter for you. Love for baseball. Our starting lineup is fantastic offensively, but our bench is concerning. Once our bench came in, the offense became stagnant. I think we lack a leader figure in our bench unit, and that's why I say they should stagger Dame and CJ so that when possessions become stagnant, then you can give the ball to CJ and he can create something out of nothing, which is what he excels at. Our bench will be good when they're able to get out and run, but they're not always going to be able to get out and run. When they can't get out and run, you need somebody in that lineup that's able to create offense, and right now, like, Simons is still a little too young, a little too weak, a little too undeveloped to consistently break down the defense off the dribble. Hezonja, he's not creative enough with his ball handling, and he's not... I don't know. He just doesn't have like the skill to consistently break down the defense and score or pass. Bazemore, he can handle the ball a little bit. He's good in transition, but he's also not that type of player. So we don't really have that type of player with our bench unit, that 6-man that can consistently break down the defense and create something out of nothing, which is why we need to stagger Dame and CJ and play CJ with the bench unit like we used to. Last year we got away from that, but the years prior to that, we would always stagger Dame and CJ, always keep one of them on the court, play CJ with the bench. We have staggered them tonight. I think like CJ would sub out 3 minutes before Dame, and then Dame would sub out at the end of the first and third quarter, and then the first 4 minutes of the second and fourth quarter we played our full bench unit, and that's when our offense got really stagnant, when we couldn't get out and run, when we were forced to play in the half court. And then CJ would come back in at like the 8-minute mark, and then Dame would come back in at like the 5 or 6 minute mark of like the second and fourth quarter. So it was kind of like half staggering them. I think we need to fully stagger them. Always play CJ with the bench unit, because that unit needs somebody that can create something out of nothing when the offense bogs down, becomes super stagnant, and it's prone to doing that with the players that has out there on the floor. It doesn't really have anybody that can create. Terry Stotts' offense, when it's not being ran by like elite guards, when it's ran with a bench unit, it can kind of become stagnant. Like Terry Stotts, even with elite guards, Terry Stotts' offense in the half court is known to become stagnant. So we need somebody that can create something out of nothing with that bench unit. How does Simons look versus Conley? Defensively, he struggled a bit, which is to be expected. Conley's very smart, and he's able to kind of impose his will against a player that young and that inexperienced. Simons did have a really good spin move on Conley right after Conley scored on him. That was nice to see. It was nice to see Simons take it right back at the veteran. But Simons' defense has been spotty this preseason. It's something that I expect will improve this season, but it's definitely not where it needs to be right now. Dame Dollar says, I think Bazemore should be the starting 3 and Hood should come off the bench to give us that spark like Seth did last year before Ennis and Hood got there. The problem is our defense with our bench unit is not good. And I think we need Ken Bazemore playing with that bench unit for defensive reasons. He's literally the only good defender we have off the bench. Mario Hezonja is average. Labissiere and Anthony Simons are below average. Pau Gasol at this point in his career will probably be average. Anthony Tolliver is like average and might have some flashes of good defense like he did tonight on that possession where he locked up Joe Ingles. But Bazemore is really the only definite good defender off the bench, and I think it's kind of crucial to have him as that guy to guard other teams' sixth men, like a Lou Williams. When we play against the Clippers, having Bazemore off the bench to guard Lou Williams will be huge. And I think I really like Hood's like playmaking, shot creation in the starting lineup. He has a little bit more space than he'd have with the bench, so he's able to kind of weave his way to that mid-range area and get that shot off, which he really likes. So I still think Hood is the right option to be our starting small forward. If we do have some problems with the lineups in the regular season, then maybe we can experiment with switching that up. But right now, I think Hood is definitely our starting small forward. Higher ceiling, Anthony or Zach Collins? I think Zach Collins, because he has the potential to be an elite role player offensively, like a Serge Ibaka type guy who could maybe get, like, in his prime, maybe you can get like 18, 19 points per game on efficient play, maybe develop into a solid passer, be a good rebounder, but then he has the potential to be like one of the top 5 rim protectors in the league. And that type of player is a really, really, really good player. So I think Zach Collins has a little bit higher ceiling than Anthony, but it's hard to say exactly what Anthony's ceiling is because I still haven't seen enough of him. And I don't know. He's so young that it's hard to tell how much he'll develop. He was supposed to be a rookie this year. So it's hard to establish what Anthony Simon's ceiling is. So right now I'd say Zach, but you could argue either side of that. Who's our third option, or do we even have one while Nurk's out? We don't need like a de facto third option. If Rodney Hood and Zach Collins can step up when the opportunity's there, if Hassan Whiteside can finish around the rim, we'll be good. Like, we don't need one of those guys to be like 17 points per game and be like, oh, that's the for sure third guy. Like, they can all be the third guy by committee. I think like the whole like third guy, fourth guy is a little overrated and overemphasized in my opinion. So how do I like our matchup versus the Jazz going forward? I like our matchup because Bogdanovic cannot guard Zach Collins down low. Zach Collins sealed him once and turned around and shot a hook shot. Zach Collins let Bogdanovic front him, and then he caught the pass over the top and then finished. Bogdanovic is like 6'8", never really played power forward in his career all that much. Zach Collins is 7 feet tall. I also think Zach Collins can guard Bogdanovic on the perimeter. I don't think Bogdanovic is all that fast, and Bogdanovic really struggled offensively tonight. I think that started with the way he was guarded by Zach Collins to start the game, and Zach Collins beasted him. Zach Collins completely outplayed Bogdanovic. And the thing is, experts are picking the Utah Jazz to finish ahead of us in terms of their standings predictions. A big part of that is because they got, I always mix up Bojan. They got Bogdanovic for the Jazz got Bogdanovic to play power forward. We have Zach Collins, who's kind of unproven. So these national media guys view Bogdanovic as a much better starting power forward option than Zach Collins. But I don't think that's really the case. If you look at how they played versus each other tonight, Zach Collins was the much better player. But when these national media guys, they don't really project improvement from a second-year guy going into his third year. Instead of saying, oh, this dude, he has a chance to break out and really help that team win a lot of games, no, it'll be like, oh, this guy's unproven, never started for them before, so, that's kind of a risk. Meanwhile, Bogdanovic is the veteran that provides them a little bit more floor spacing, and experts are all talking about, oh, now they have so much floor spacing, they're going to be so good offensively with Bogdanovic as a stretch four. But they're not really considering the defensive aspect of that, which is Bogdanovic is going to be mismatched against bigger power forwards. And if they can score on Bogdanovic down low, then that team's going to have some fits. Zach Collins scored a couple times on Bogdanovic down low. Bogdanovic didn't have a chance. And that's the thing. Like, Bogdanovic isn't a hard player to guard either, in my opinion. Like, he can shoot, he can play off a star, but he's not that great offensively to justify the defensive mismatch that the Jazz are faced with by putting Bogdanovic up against a guy like Zach Collins. So I like the way we match up for that reason. I think that Zach Collins can win that matchup when we go up against the Jazz. And a lot of experts and national media analysts, they wouldn't make the same comment, but if you watch them tonight, you'll see why Zach Collins can win that matchup, because he definitely won it tonight. Rodney looked really good tonight. Yeah, I like the way Rodney looked. Did I see how bad you misspelled Westbrook. Westbrook looked bad tonight. It was like he shot. God, what did he shoot? I forget what he shot, but he had like 8 turnovers, only 4 assists, 14 points, and it wasn't efficient at all. And now Houston Rockets fans are dragging him. And that was right after they were talking about how they were going to win the championship because Westbrook was such an upgrade and would fit in seamlessly with James Harden because they were friends before. Westbrook does not fit with James Harden. That's a horrible fit. Westbrook didn't play good tonight. I think people are starting to realize just how bad he is as a player, despite the fact that, bad in the context of a star. Like, the dude's still a good player, but he's not like a superstar level player, even though he averages a triple-double or whatever. I think fans are starting to realize that after Dame exposed him in the first round last year, and then I think this year he and Harden are going to clash on the court. I think Westbrook, his stats will go down. His efficiency could also go down. His efficiency already sucked, though. And the thing is, if the dude's only averaging like 18 points per game and 7 assists and 8 rebounds and is shooting like only 40% from the field and 30% from 3, like, that's not that good of a player. That's not that good of a player at all. Like, I think that might honestly be Westbrook's stat line. And I'm not going to lie. I like seeing Westbrook struggle. I'm not going to lie. Do I think trading Hassan at the trade deadline? I think we will. I think it makes sense. Nurkic will come back. I think Nurkic will be fine. He'll come back, be that starting center. Whiteside and Nurkic can't play together, so there's not enough minutes to go around for both of them. Whiteside is a huge expiring contract, which will help in trading for a star that can play with Nurkic, starting forward. Maybe a guy like Blake Griffin, Otto Porter Jr., somebody like that. Even if it's a lesser role player that fits in well, I still think it's the right move. Maybe a guy like Bielitsa from Sacramento. Maybe a guy like Robert Covington from Minnesota. I think there will be a lot of options to trade Whiteside, and I think it will only make sense to do so. Russell first round exit Westbrook says, glad to see my least favorite player tank one of my least favorite franchises. It's beautiful to watch, isn't it? Like, I don't hate the Thunder anymore. Like, I couldn't stand the Thunder because, Westbrook. I couldn't stand the Thunder because of Westbrook. Now he plays with Harden. I couldn't stand the Rockets before, so now I just really hate the Houston Rockets. Now I really want to see that team struggle. They're super overhyped this year. It's going to be really entertaining to watch that team struggle, because I think there will be a lot of moments where that team struggles and people are just going to completely blame Westbrook for that. That'll be their scapegoat. Houston fans didn't like Westbrook until Westbrook came there. So, like, if Westbrook struggles, those fans are going to crucify him. Like, I'm not going to feel bad for Westbrook, but it's so, like, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Like, those fans are going to, he's going to be their punching bag. He's going to be the scapegoat. And he's going to have his nights where he's just absolutely horrible and loses that team a game they should win. How do I feel about the Lakers? Overhyped. Not a huge fan of them. As a basketball team, obviously I hate the Lakers as well, but I'm not a huge fan of their team. They don't have much depth. Outside of LeBron and AD, they have Kyle Kuzma as their third best player. He's overrated as hell. So I don't think they're that good. But so it was an interesting game tonight. It was nice to see the Portland Trail Blazers rattle off a 20-point win. It was nice to see them shore up their defense. It was nice to see Zach Collins step out of his shell a little bit more and hit some shots. I really wish he'd shoot more threes, because he hit 2 mid-range shots in a row. It might have even been 3 if I recall correctly. And then he hit a 3-point jump shot, and then the very next position after that 3-point make, he caught the ball trailing on the fast break and could have just said, screw it, I'm hot, and could have just caught the ball and launched another 3 trailing. It would have been contested, but I wanted to see him shoot it because he was obviously building a rhythm and getting hot. But I also don't blame him for not forcing a contested 3 because he's not Dame or CJ. So but it's preseason, so I wanted to see him jack that contested trail 3 after he made his first one, but he didn't. Some of you guys, if you watch the game, you guys might know what shot I'm talking about. But it was good to see him show out a bit, and it was good to see Dame and CJ in midseason form. Those guys are going to be ready to go against Denver. I'm never worried about our team with those two guys like leading the charge, because those two guys are going to be great this year. I think CJ might have his best season to date. I think CJ might have his most efficient season. He's not isolating as much. He's more playing within the flow of the offense right now, which is, I think, better for the team and better for him in terms of his individual performance. So I think CJ will be really good this year. First time All-Star potential. I saw LeBron's China comments. I tweeted out my opinion about that. If you're curious to see what my opinion is about LeBron's China comments, go follow me at TorJonesYT, because I was pretty opinionated on that. I did not see Stotts' comments on China. If you could quote Stotts' comments on China in the comment section, I'd greatly appreciate it. What do I think about the Warriors' depth problems? Who's going to be their starting small forward? Alfonso McKinney? Greg Robinson? Their bench sucks, and I think if they still had a good bench, that they'd be a potential number 1 seed in the Western Conference, even with Klay Thompson being out, because like Russell and Curry and Draymond, Willie Cauley-Stein is a solid center as well, Looney, like they got some pieces at the top of their roster. They just lack depth. Like their depth is so bad that they'll lose a lot of games because of that, and therefore I don't have them as like a top 4 team in the Western Conference. Yeah, but if somebody can quote me Stotts' China comments, I'd greatly appreciate it. Why didn't Powell play this preseason? He's recovering from a foot injury, I believe. I believe it was a foot injury, some sort of injury he had surgery on a little while ago. Like he's revving up his preparation in order to play. There's a good chance he plays on opening night, but if not, he'll play sometime soon. He's just recovering from that surgery. Brian Scalabrine. Personally, I think the Lakers are going to beat us. When we play against them, we can't guard LeBron. Why can't we guard LeBron? Like, why exactly can't we guard LeBron compared to other teams? You know what I mean? Because like it's nearly impossible to completely stop LeBron for any team. But I don't see why we can't guard him. I know a lot of people are kind of freaking out like, oh, we don't have that big versatile defensive wing like an Aminu or a Harkless, but we have good rim protection. LeBron likes to get to the rim. He likes to put pressure on the defense by getting to the rim. We got Zach Collins and Hassan Whiteside. Zach Collins did a beautiful job protecting the rim today. That was the other part of Zach's game that I really, really liked tonight is the dude did a great job protecting the rim without fouling. He got a couple of blocked shots. There was a play in the third quarter where Gobert was rumbling down the lane after catching the ball in a pick and roll, and Zach stepped up out of the restricted area, jumped straight up. It was almost like Gobert tried to dunk it, like he tried to like cock it back and dunk it on Collins, but like Collins stepped forward enough, stepped up to Gobert enough, and jumped straight up and was like strong in jumping straight up that Gobert couldn't get to the rim and just like threw it off the backboard. That's Gobert. Like that dude's not hard. That dude's not easy to stop. Zach Collins did a good job against him. Zach Collins got blocks, but also just going straight up, not fouling, protecting the rim, making guys alter their shots and making them miss because of it. That was something he was doing as well. Zach Collins was great, and I think that Zach Collins, like against a guy like LeBron, I think Zach Collins can kind of protect the rim from LeBron, and if you turn LeBron into a jump shooter, you're going to have a little bit more success. Embarking Box, I think this is quoting Terry Stotts' comments on China. I think every American has the right to free speech. Whether it continues on different topics, you know there are a lot of difficult topics in the world. Syria is a difficult topic. Ukraine is a difficult topic. There are a lot of world issues that maybe a lot of people aren't well enough versed on to comment on. That's what I found on Blazers Edge on Stotts' comments on China. And that's pretty well spoken. I don't disagree with him at all. Hey man, is headed out. Thanks for answering. No problem, man. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Dude, Collins isn't stopping LeBron. I just said, it's almost impossible for anyone to completely stop LeBron. Name one guy that can completely stop LeBron. Before you say Kawhi, like Kawhi can't completely stop LeBron. Maybe on one random night, LeBron might be able to be completely stopped, but nobody can consistently completely stop LeBron. Collins isn't even going to be guarding him. I'm simply saying that Collins and Whiteside protecting the rim is going to make that second layer of defense. That second layer of defense is going to be phenomenal. That's elite rim protection from two different guys. So if LeBron is able to break down the guy in front of him, which is probably going to happen because we don't have an Aminu or Harkless type of defender, the difference between having a versatile defender like that and Hood, the negative difference there is going to be made up for the fact that our rim protection can make up for when our perimeter defense breaks down because we have two elite rim protectors. I'm not saying that our rim protection will completely stop LeBron, but it will help slow him down. I'm sorry, but Collins ain't doing that. Collins ain't doing what? China can stop him. Yeah. I want this sleep blow. Collins getting postered. You saw how LeBron did Big Nurk. So because of one play in one game from 2 years ago, Collins can't do a good job defensively protecting the rim against LeBron? That's you're going to go... Okay. Troll somewhere else, man. Come on. Don't bring that in here. I'll swat that away just like Collins has blocked LeBron before and just like Collins will block LeBron again. Collins is a better rim protector than Nurk. And Nurk is a good rim protector too. People want to talk about one play. That's such a casual fan thing to do. To take one play and like act like it means more than it means. LeBron had a good drive and dunked. Cool. There's also plays where Nurkic has done a good job protecting the rim, but it's not the flashy highlight thing to do, so people don't notice it because they're casuals. But they'll notice the big dunk because, and they'll act like that means the world because they're casuals. Like, come on. I'm not saying you're a casual or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, that's the type of arguments that I hate to see. That's the type of argument that casual fans on Twitter love to make. Oh, Nurk got dunked on by LeBron, so Collins ain't stopping him. That's such a straw man argument. Brian Scalabrini, true, but if LeBron beats somebody off the dribble, then Zach comes and helps. He can easily pass out for the three, or even lob it to the cutter or someone who is. The problem is, Lakers don't have great shooting. They got Danny Green, who's a good shooter. Outside that, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, very streaky, not a great shooter. Avery Bradley, not a good shooter. Rajon Rondo, not a good shooter. Caruso, unproven. Quinn Cook can kind of shoot, but like he's horrible. One of the worst players defensively. So if you have Quinn Cook out there to maybe hit threes, if LeBron wants to pass it out, then Damian Lillard's gonna light it up on the other end because Quinn Cook can't do anything defensively. They don't have good shooters. And the thing is, you make LeBron pass it out, then you recover from there. That's the thing with defensive rotations, which we've kind of struggled on. That's why I'm hoping they get better, is because if LeBron ends up driving in the help side, who Zach Collins has to help over onto LeBron, and Zach Collins is guarding a guy like Kyle Kuzma who's on the three-point line, then somebody else has to rotate out and take away that three-point shot. Thing is, Kyle Kuzma's only a 30% three-point shooter as well. Anthony Davis isn't a good three-point shooter. So his options to kick out the ball aren't that good. And if he does kick out the ball, then other guys have to help the helper. The guy who rotates over in help side, which is Zach, to protect the rim. If the ball gets kicked out to the guy that Zach's guarding, somebody else has to rotate over and pick up his assignment. Sleep Blow says Zach Collins didn't impress him tonight. All right, man. If Zach Collins didn't impress you tonight, then I don't know what you're watching. I don't know if your feed was in 144 pixels, but if Zach Collins didn't impress you, Zach Collins was phenomenal tonight. Great job protecting the rim. Great job protecting the rim. Very efficient. Knocked down pretty much every shot he took. To me, Collins would be better at the 5 spot. I don't see him around the perimeter with Nurk or Whiteside, IDK. Why would it be a problem having Collins on the perimeter? His jump shot's looking better. He knocked down like 3 mid-range shots and a 3-pointer tonight. He knocked down pretty much every jump shot he took. Offensively, Collins can definitely play the 4 because his shot's gotten better. It's obvious this preseason, just watching him shoot. Like, you can tell just by watching him shoot that he's gotten better this preseason. Defensively, he can guard out on the perimeter. He has enough foot speed to be able to guard out on the perimeter, to guard guys like Kyle Kuzma, Bogdanovic. What did Bogdanovic do tonight against Zach Collins? Nothing. Even though Zach Collins was also protecting the rim while guarding Bogdanovic on the perimeter. Okay. I'm just reading this chat. I don't got anything more left to say. But we'll have these guys after games, that come in and troll. Especially during the regular season. I'll be on after games and the Blazers lose, and we'll have these guys from the winning fan base that'll find our streams, and they'll come in here and troll and talk crap. It might even be Blazer fans themselves. I don't know. But I invite it. Challenge me. This guy's not challenging me. Bogdanovic scored 1 point. Exactly 1 point tonight. I think he was like 0 for 9. Who was guarding him? Zach Collins was guarding him. What can we do to defend Donovan Mitchell better? Not let him get going on pick and rolls so much. We let him get downhill on pick and rolls too much. I would probably want to hedge pick and rolls against him because sagging the big guy, he just attacks the big guy ruthlessly, and he can also pull up from mid-range and knock down a good number of mid-range shots. So the way we guard pick and roll against him, where we sag the big man back, doesn't really work against Donovan Mitchell. Schleep probably thinks Dame wasn't impressive in Game 5 versus the Thunder. Overhyping Zach a little, yeah, buddy. No. The dude can protect the rim. The dude can knock down a 3-point shot. The dude can finish inside. He's a 7-footer that can play the 4 or the 5. That's facts. I don't know what I'm doing that's overhyping. Like I said, challenge me. What did I think of Dame and CJ's defense tonight? I felt it was better tonight. Dame did less overcommitting in the passing lanes. Actually, Dame's defense was low-key very, very good. Drew a couple offensive fouls against the Jazz, but there was also multiple possessions where he did a really good job sliding his feet, beating guys to the spot, cutting guys off so they couldn't drive the lane. Dame's defense was really, really solid tonight. CJ's still kind of a mixed bag, but CJ seems to be giving a little bit more effort. Who knows if it's just because they're fresh, because it's the start of the preseason. But I'm encouraged by that backcourt's defense. I think if they improve as much as they did last season, then it'll really, really help us out because they became like decent defenders last season. Like not good defenders by any means, but they were about average. For both those guys were about average. Advanced statistics backed up the eye test with that because they looked better. So if they can continue to improve, maybe they'll be a little bit above average. Even average for Dame and CJ is really, really good considering where they were like 3-4 seasons ago, where they were really, really bad defensively, both of them. This dude's still trolling. Should I let him continue to entertain you guys, or do you want me to block him for a little bit? Because I can let him keep entertaining y'all. What start do I see? Because the first games of the regular season are very hard. I expect us to be like, after 20 games, I expect us to be like 10-10. 500 team after 20 games. I did a schedule breakdown. You can go check it out. It's one of my previous videos. Go watch it after this stream is done, which I'll be wrapping it up shortly. But our first 20 games or so are extremely, extremely hard. I think we'll be on a 50-win pace if we start the first 20 games at 500 at 10-10. Just based on, like, that's taking into account how hard the opponents we're facing. I'm just not convinced of Collins in the preseason. You're saying that he has no chance to stop LeBron. You're saying he won't have a solid impact. Like, you're completely hating on him, man. You don't have to be. I don't know. I just didn't know if you guys were getting annoyed by this or not. So. Who do I think is the greatest of all time, like NBA wise? I don't participate in that argument. Michael Jordan and LeBron are equal. Eugene David, I give up. The Zach Top is all you guys want to talk about. Do you want to talk about something else? Because you can ask me a question, I'll answer it. Maybe I missed a question, but I'll gladly move off the Zach Collins topic because I'm down to talk about something else. I only have 15 minutes left for this stream. Among the new guys, who do you think will have the most impact this year? Who do you think will have the least? Least impact is Nasir Little. Most impact Hassan Whiteside, especially because we'll trade him for a really good player at the trade deadline, which is my prediction, and that's a good impact for Hassan Whiteside to have, which will be landing us a good player in return for him being traded. Eugene asked it before in all caps. Hey man, I'm not gonna see everything, guys. Like, this chat's moving fast. Like, I'm not gonna be able to see everything. Like, I'm talking to you guys, and I'm also trying to read chat while not constantly looking down at my phone. But yeah, ask it again. I'm looking for it now. Like, I'll catch your. Why Trent sucks? Why Trent sucks? He. So you guys are constantly staring at chat. I'm not. That's the problem. But. Trent just forces too many tough shots. He's not able to really get to the rim, and he loves to shoot a lot of contested jumpers. He doesn't really wait for his shot to come to him. He doesn't wait for the offense to generate a good shot for him. He tries to force the issue, and that means a lot of contested, tough jump shots, and he's not Dame or CJ, so he's not able to knock down those types of shots. And outside of that, he doesn't provide much else other than shooting and scoring. So that's why he struggles. In the G League, he's playing a ton of minutes, and he's letting his shot get to him, and he's not defended as well, which is why he's able to get going in G League games. Last year in the G League, he was awesome, but in the NBA, it's a whole different game. He's covered tighter. The shots are harder, so... All right, I'm trying to make sure I didn't... Dame Dalla says he got ignored 6 times. Ask what you were asking. The thing is, if there's 20 different people trying to ask stuff over the top of each other, I'm definitely going to miss it. Even though it wouldn't work, I'll take Covington right now over Hood and Bays. I would maybe take Covington over Hood. I wouldn't take Covington over both Hood and Bays together. Covington's just a 3-and-D guy. He doesn't really provide anything off the dribble. So in certain roles, Covington would be better, but also I like having small forwards Big shooting guards or small forwards that can actually handle the ball a little bit and make plays off the dribble. So that's why I like Hood and Bays more, and Covington doesn't really do the same thing. Eugene David, thanks Tori, I feel better. Yeah, I'm not ignoring anybody on purpose. Okay, if your question doesn't get answered, I'm not ignoring you on purpose. I guarantee that. I'm trying to answer everything while also give my thoughts about the game. So, oh, my laptop isn't plugged in. That's something I should probably do. Completely forgot to do that. Bulls front office has been terrible discourse to Chicago. I don't want. The chat's moving fast because Sleep is trolling. LOL. That's why I was asking if you guys want me to give that dude a little break because he is spamming the chat. That's why I asked you guys that earlier. Was it a foul when Royce blocked Tolliver? No, I don't think so. We got a little sliver of wrist and then got a bit of hand, but hand's part of the ball when you're going up with it. So it's just like baseball, when you swing and if you hit the ball off your hands while you're swinging, that's a foul ball. Or even if you don't swing and the ball gets hit off your hands, that's a foul ball. Your hands are part of the bat. It's the same thing going up with the basketball. If you get your hand hit, even if you get this part of your wrist, if you get hit here, that's a foul. But if you get hit through here, up through your hand, that's part of the ball. That's clean. That's how I've always looked at it. So, all right, Matthew Huff, you're being hidden for sure, because you can't. Please don't spam the chat like that. Put user in timeout. There you go. Porter better fit as a shooter. I'd take Otto Porter over Robert Covington, but we did a whole trade marathon podcast on that. We've talked about that often. I've talked about Otto Porter Jr. a lot. Yeah, I'd take Porter because he's an elite three-point shooter. Jeez. Suns aren't going to the playoffs. Yeah, if you guys have stuff that I missed, I post a prompt each week for mailbag. I'm also posting a mailbag. I just need to finish editing it. So sometime tonight, I want to get those back to Monday, but just leave it for the mailbag that I'm posting tonight and post it on the comment section there. It can be about specific game stuff. It can be about anything, and I'll be able to actually go through everything and answer everything compared to trying to keep up with this whole chat while I have multiple people spamming it. Shout out to Eric. Thanks for pointing that out too. When am I doing fantasy? Soon. I know I have a list of people that I'll send invites to. I just want to see how many people we have before I create the league. Draft will probably be Monday. It would be cool to do a live podcast with our fantasy draft. Anyone else thinks Cousins is way overhyped? Not sure why anyone is scared of him. So slow and big, always crying. I mean, the dude's hurt for the entire year, so once he comes back from this injury, dude's not going to be the same player. I thought he could return to kind of how he was, but he's so injury prone now and can't even stay on the court that if he was able to get back on the court, he's probably not going to be that productive. Rocco still talking Rocco versus Otto Porter Jr. All right. Should Moses Brown get the second two-way contract? Yes. I might drop a short 3-minute video talking about Moses Brown and looking at his preseason stats, even though he hasn't played that much. Moses Brown has been good, and from training camp, there's quotes about how much he's improved, and I'll include those in the videos as well. I really like Moses Brown as a long-term developmental project. Do I think once Nurk comes back, Zach will start off the bench as backup center or just continue being the starting power forward? I think Zach will continue being the starting power forward. I don't think our center position affects Zach's role as the starting power forward. I think he's for sure the starting power forward. The only way Zach isn't the starting power forward is if we trade him somewhere, or if we trade for a guy like Blake Griffin, who would obviously start over him next to Nurk. But barring a trade, Zach Collins is for sure our starting power forward. When is the fantasy league? I just answered this. Maybe you asked that before I answered it, but I know if you guys need to send me a DM on Twitter or reply to one of my tweets on Twitter so that I can add you to the list of people I got. How many minutes do I think Simon should get? 15 to 20 minutes. What did you think of Bazemore today? It seems like he had terrible hands. Maybe it was because of the preseason and his timing is off, though. Yeah, he did look slippery with the ball. It was kind of surprising. He does seem to be like a little butterfingered at times. And not the good kind of butterfinger. I kind of want a butterfinger right now, but yeah, the ball definitely fell off his hands a lot, but he's still a solid player. A lot of times he didn't really lose the ball. He just kind of like wasn't able to control it to be able to make a move offensively. Yes, do a live stream of the fantasy draft. That'd be a lot of fun. But I might be like moving that day. We'll see how that goes. It might be, I don't know. It'll have to be Monday. When does Uprise podcast get on Apple Podcast? I've been trying to I haven't really been working on that because I've been trying to make sure all my technical stuff is good. So it'll be probably a couple weeks to a month, but I do want to get that up for you guys. I just need to there's a process for that I need to get going. I'm starting to think Whiteside got to go. It's not looking good. Whiteside was really good tonight. He's just so big and slow that it almost looks like he's lazy, but the defense was phenomenal with him in the game. He didn't really make mistakes outside of one turnover and a defensive 3 seconds. Whiteside's fine. People need to relax on Whiteside. He doesn't need to go. Whiteside will be fine. Caleb Pendergraph, exactly. A little too early to judge. Only been a few games, and they're preseason games, so I guarantee you he's not playing with the same level of energy. His conditioning is also a bit meh. He's going to be resting up this ankle, so his conditioning will still be pretty bad once the regular season starts. So I'm not trying to bash the dude until we get a good sample size of him, once he should be conditioned and should be pretty comfortable with the offense. Only then will I have a definitive judgment on Whiteside as a piece for this team. Zach and Nurk is going to be good. The ball movement will be great. Yeah, will definitely be great. And it was fun tonight. Rodney Hood and Zach Collins are so much more fun offensively than Maurice Harkless and Al-Farouq Aminu. And I wasn't one of those guys that was consistently hating on Aminu and Harkless because there was definitely a lot of Blazer fans that were like that. I recognized what they could bring for us defensively and on the boards, and I recognize their impact on the team. But Zach Collins and Rodney Hood is a lot more fun offensively than those two. All right, so I got to wrap up this podcast. If you guys, or not this podcast, I got to wrap up this postgame show. So if there's a question that I missed, make sure to leave it on the mailbag comment section of the mailbag that will drop sometime tonight. It'll probably drop 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning, sometime around then. So I tried to get to all your questions, but I got to go. I'm out of time. So Eugene David, what's your full-time job? Ask that in the mailbag. Because that'll be something I can talk about at the start of the video for sure. So any other questions you guys got, leave them on the mailbag. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. It was a fun preseason game tonight. And I might be back tomorrow. I'm not entirely sure, but the Blazers play their final preseason game tomorrow. It might be a bunch of the end of the bench guys, so I'm not sure if I'll do a post-game stream for that. Just stay tuned for that. So anyway, that's it from me. Hope you guys have a good night. This has been Tori. Peace out. Go Blazers.